Alrighty, folks, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Let's get into this episode. So, I've recently started a little series on yard work, watering, and things like that. If that's what you're here for, that's great. Thank you. I should be outside, but I'm decided not to go outside for this one. I'm actually watering right now. But this is also a health and fitness channel, spirituality, Christianity, Catholicism, uh, nutrition type thing as well. But I just became a homeowner. I just got married. I did landscaping for 11 years. I've been doing more personal training stuff now, and just working at my old actual landscaping boss's restaurant that he opened because the larger company that we worked for went under. He started a restaurant, so I'm doing that and training part time. But the biggest, what can we do actually when we have hard ground? Like here in Colorado, there's a lot of areas where the ground is really, really hard, even clay, rocky, something like that. And every time you turn on your yard, all you end up getting is a lot of runoff. It doesn't seem like your grass is actually taking up. It doesn't actually seem like your lawn is actually taking in the water, right? Now I'm only making this video because one of the regulars at the restaurant brought this up, and one of the guys that used to work with us brought up the solution of literally taking out 6 inches to a foot worth of dirt in your yard. And to me, that's just absurd. So one thing you can do is, I remember when I first started, we took a best management practice certification, right? And one thing to remember is, do you have a slope in your yard, right? Is your yard angled? And if your yard is angled in some way, shape, or form, you've probably got heads at the top and you've got heads at the bottom, right? So the thing you want to make sure to do is, these heads up top, you're going to water for less time than the heads on the bottom, if you're lucky enough to where those heads are on different zones, right? If they are installed in that way, then yes, maybe you just have one head like my yard, the entire bottom is its own besides one head. But those other heads are on the bottom. So if you can, you want to water those heads longer because they're shooting up and the water has to roll downhill. So you have a better chance of that water that shoots up and rolls down to actually take and soak into the ground, versus the top, it's just going to hit and roll off instantly. So that's number one. Number one is those low heads you want running longer so it has longer time to actually soak in, if that's something that you can do, right? I was listening to one of my health podcasts actually, and they talked about this guy who's actually growing crops in the ocean and making a good living off it. He's growing actual seaweed and strange things along with lobsters and shrimps and crabs and whatever. And one thing I think he might have brought up, that the beauty of this farming in the sea now is we don't have those depleted soils, because unfortunately now we have depleted soils, right? Oh, here, let me scratch you, Gordie. Let me scratch you. This is Molly. I think this might be her first debut in a video. But you got to remember too, now maybe the water is not taking because you don't have a lot of nutrients in your ground. So fertilization, aeration, those types of things are going to help. But try to get some nutrients into it. Maybe go with an organic one. Usually when you're just going to get those synthetic ones, you're just going to have the nitrogen, phosphorus, and NPK, potassium, I don't know what it is, NPK, whatever NPK is, right? You're just going to have those basic elements in there. Some will have iron. A lot of them are iron free because that iron is going to mark your sidewalks and stain it red if you do not wash it off or blow it off with a blower or sweep it off with a broom. So try to get maybe more of an organic or some form of fertilizer or something that you can throw on your yard that's going to actually have more nutrients in it. That could be an issue as well. I haven't really looked into it, but just something that kind of sparks. So aeration and getting different types of nutrients in your soil. Maybe you have nutritional deficiencies within your soil. And the third one is the one I actually thought of when this question arose, was if you do have that really, really hard ground, instead of having a zone that waters for 10 minutes or 30 minutes for those larger area heads that are spraying and rotating, instead of doing a 10-minute cycle, or I'm going to make it easy here. I'm going to do 15 minutes because in dead heat, you're probably going to do 15 minutes anyways. Instead of doing a 15-minute cycle, do 3 5-minute cycles. Okay? So you're going to water, maybe let's just play it out here. I'm just going to, you have 3 zones, and all 3 zones are watering for 15 minutes. Okay? And so 15 minutes is 45 minutes. So your total run time for your yard would be 45 minutes, but each zone is 15. So you divide that by 3, that's 5 minutes. So that ends up being a 15-minute cycle. So you let your yard, each zone run for 5 minutes, right? Then let the ground give it time to relax and soak up what might still be sitting on it. So give it a 30-minute rest period, an hour rest period, depending on what your night is, how much time you've got. Then do another 5-minute cycle. So you break it down into 3 5-minute cycles, allowing the ground to soak up just 5 minutes, rest, kind of let that water sink in a little bit more, and then once again, go ahead and do it again, and then do it again. So you're going to have 3 5-minute cycles. So that means you might run 10 o'clock, right? 10 to 10:45, then don't start your next cycle till 11:45 at night. That's going to be 10:45, then 11:15, let it rest for 30 minutes. Start it again, right? That's going to get you to 11:15 to midnight. Let it rest till 12:30. Set your other start time at 12:30 a.m. and let that run out. And yeah, you've pushed your cycle out longer, but hopefully now you are preventing the runoff within your yard out into the street, and you're not just paying to water the concrete and let it run off into the sewer. So something to think about. I hope this helps you and gives you some ideas that hopefully is going to help your yard become greener, leaner, and meaner. I haven't really messed around with my yard in forever because I was always in apartments. Now I got a house, so I've got to do this stuff. But once again, I was in the landscaping maintenance area for 11 years. A lot of it was HOA maintenance. So I would program parks and street strips. I'd be programming in areas that are, 3 clocks at 30 to 40 zones a clock. So I'd be working with 120 zones, trying to, multiple projects. So, hopefully this is something, you'll take my advice. It'll give you some insight on different things that you can do. So once again, I hope this helps. Remember, fitness, spirituality, health, nutrition, self-improvement, all those things are on this channel. I hope you find something that's going to help you in that area.